What if I told you the Indiana Fever just dropped a lineup so stacked, it's already being called a super team, and not everyone is happy about it? The league starting 5 sent shockwaves across the league. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, DeWanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, Aaliyah Boston. 5 names, 1 message: we're not here to rebuild, we're here to dominate. And just like that, the Fever flipped the script on every doubter who said they weren't ready. Let's break it down. Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom with the vision of a veteran and the range of a sniper, is running point. She's not just the future of the franchise, she is the franchise. With her presence alone, defensive schemes are getting shredded before the ball even tips off. Teams now have to guard 94 feet because Clark doesn't wait for the arc, she pulls from the logo like it's warm-up shots. But standing next to her, Kelsey Mitchell, one of the most slept-on scorers in the league. Averaging nearly 20 points last season, she's lightning fast, impossible to contain one-on-one, and now has the luxury of playing alongside someone who draws double teams without even touching the ball. This isn't a backcourt, it's a nightmare, and it only gets worse. DeWanna Bonner slides in at the 3. She's not just a vet, she's a proven playoff killer. Towering over most wings, Bonner brings length, shooting, and the kind of clutch experience no coach can teach. But more than that, she's hungry. After years of carrying teams, she's finally surrounded by stars. And you better believe she plans to finish what she started. Natasha Howard at the 4 is where things get dangerous. She's quick, aggressive, and runs the floor like a guard. Her defensive motor? Unmatched. She thrives in chaos, and this offense thrives on unpredictability. Opposing teams are already scrambling to find someone who can keep up with her pace. Good luck with that. Anchoring it all is Aaliyah Boston, calm, calculated, and terrifyingly efficient. She doesn't need 20 shots to dominate, she just needs positioning, and she's got that locked. With Clark's passing and Boston's timing, defenses are about to face a pick-and-roll duo that could redefine the game. Now here's the twist. This wasn't supposed to happen this fast. Clark's still a rookie. Boston's only in year 2. But they've built a system that moves like a machine, and with these 5 pieces, it's running at full speed. Every player can shoot, slash, defend, and stretch the floor. No weak links, no filler. And yet, behind all this hype, there's one name being quietly pushed aside: Sophie Cunningham. A hard-nosed veteran suddenly benched. Why? Because this lineup doesn't have space for passengers. The Fever didn't just upgrade, they cleared the runway. But that wasn't the whole story. Clark didn't just walk into a lineup, she walked into a storm. Because when you stack a roster with this much firepower, egos get bruised, roles get flipped, and players who used to shine suddenly find themselves on the outside looking in. So what happens next? That's where it gets messy. Sophie Cunningham didn't get the starting spot, and somehow, she's still smiling? That's not just rare, it's suspicious. She claimed she wasn't chasing attention, that she didn't come for the spotlight. But let's be real, this is the WNBA, not a charity league. Players fight for minutes, for contracts, for respect. And when someone with Cunningham's experience suddenly accepts a bench role without even a hint of pushback, you start to wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Because just a year ago, Sophie was known for her grit, her edge, and her fire. Now she's taking a backseat with a smile and a speech about doing what's best for the team. Either that's genuine growth, or someone told her to keep quiet and fall in line. Her words might have sounded team first, but her tone? That's where the cracks start to show. Cunningham talked about winning, about how she joined the Fever for a shot at a championship. But what she didn't say speaks volumes. No mention of proving herself, no challenge to earn her way back, just quiet compliance, almost too quiet. And let's not forget, this is the same player who once went toe-to-toe with Diana Taurasi and didn't blink. The same Sophie who carved a role by being loud, relentless, and impossible to ignore. That edge made her dangerous. Now it's gone. And conveniently, just as Indiana's image starts shifting into a more media-friendly direction, the Fever's coaching staff is building a culture around Caitlin Clark. There's no denying it. And anyone who doesn't fit that narrative, they either adjust fast or disappear. Cunningham didn't just adjust, she vanished from the spotlight overnight. A move that feels less like growth and more like silencing. But that wasn't the only red flag. Because while Sophie smiles from the bench, rumors are swirling that this was never her choice. Some insiders say she expected to start, that she was blindsided by the lineup leak, and now she's playing damage control, towing the company line to protect her spot on a loaded roster. So the question is, did Sophie really embrace her role? Or was she forced to? Because when a veteran suddenly starts preaching selflessness after years of fighting tooth and nail for minutes, something doesn't add up. And the Fever's silence on the matter? Even louder. Stay tuned, this story isn't over. 9 players. That's how many members of this Fever squad could easily start on any team in the league. And that's not just impressive, it's terrifying. Most teams are lucky to have 5 dependable starters. Indiana? They've got a full rotation of weapons, each one capable of flipping the game on its head. This isn't just depth, it's an arsenal. And the scary part? No one's safe, not even the starters. Players like Sophie Cunningham, who've started in other cities, are now coming off the bench without a single complaint. Not because they suddenly got worse, but because this roster is too stacked. You've got shooters, slashers, defenders, vets, rookies, all interchangeable, all dangerous. Lineups can shift in seconds based on matchups. Other teams? They're stuck playing checkers while the Fever are playing 4D chess. But the real chaos starts when you realize the styles don't even change. Starters come off, subs check in, and the system keeps rolling like nothing happened. The pressure never drops. The energy never slows. The looks, the pace, the execution, it's all identical. It's like watching 2 starting lineups alternate quarters. Lexi Holt brings the defense. Sydney Colson brings the calm. Brianna Turner brings the muscle. Dantas brings the floor spacing. They don't need 30 minutes to prove their worth. They need 3 to wreck your entire game plan. And while they're out there causing problems, the starters are resting, regrouping, and ready to strike again. No one's talking about it, but this kind of depth creates tension. Players who were once go-to options are now role players. Minutes will be cut. Egos will bruise. But guess what? Indiana doesn't care. They're not managing feelings, they're chasing banners. And what happens next could rip through the entire league. Because if one injury, one slump, one trade happens, this whole bench might suddenly become the starting unit. And if that doesn't scare the rest of the WNBA, it should. What happens when you take the most talked about rookie in basketball and move her off the ball? You don't just break the rules, you break defenses. The Indiana Fever aren't using Caitlin Clark the way most teams would use a number 1 pick. They're not planting her at the top of the key, barking out plays like a traditional point guard. Instead, they're turning her into a moving target, constantly shifting, cutting, and sprinting off screens like she's playing tag with the entire defense. And that's not just smart, it's dangerous. The game plan is crystal clear. Think Steph Curry, but younger and possibly more unpredictable. Clark won't be standing still waiting for a pass. She'll be creating chaos. 1 second she's curling around a screen, the next she's slipping into the corner wide open for a 3. Defenders can't breathe, let alone guard her. And if you try to trap her, she dumps it, relocates, and hits a 30-footer like she never left. But here's the part no one wants to admit. This strategy doesn't just help Clark. It exposes every team that tries to guard her. Because the moment you send 2 defenders to stop her movement, you've already lost. Mitchell, Bonner, Howard, Boston, pick your poison. Someone's getting a clean look, and it started with Clark sprinting through a screen like her life depends on it. What makes it worse is that most teams aren't even built to handle this. WNBA defenses are designed to stop isolation plays, not off-ball chaos. They're built to guard one-on-one matchups, not chase a blur of movement for 40 straight minutes. By the third quarter, defenders are gassed, rotations break down, and the Fever feast. But that wasn't the whole story. Because this isn't just about getting Clark easier shots, it's about weaponizing her presence to wreck entire defensive systems. The Fever aren't just playing basketball, they're running a psychological operation. Defenders are constantly guessing, switching, and failing. Meanwhile, Clark's just getting started. And while other rookies are learning the ropes, Clark is rewriting the playbook. She's not waiting for a moment, she is the moment. And if the league isn't careful, she'll turn this season into her personal highlight reel, one broken defense at a time. The message is clear: stop her movement, or watch your season fall apart. And what happens next could leave a few coaches jobless. When veterans walk into a locker room, the tone changes. But in Indiana, it didn't just change, it got taken over. DeWanna Bonner didn't come to play second fiddle. Natasha Howard isn't here to babysit rookies. And Sydney Colson didn't sign up just to clap from the bench. These women brought rings, experience, and years of playoff scars, and they're running the show now whether anyone likes it or not. It's not just leadership, it's a takeover. Bonner has been through every situation imaginable. Howard, she's got 3 championships and plays like she's chasing a 4th. And Colson, she's the voice in the huddle when things get tight. When pressure builds, they don't panic, they control. And that control? It's shaping every decision being made behind closed doors. The coaching staff isn't just leaning on their experience, they're building the culture around it. Rookies stay quiet, young players follow orders. There's a clear hierarchy, and it's not up for debate. And while some might see that as structure, others are calling it suffocating. Because let's not pretend this vibe fits everyone. There are rising stars on this roster with game-changing potential, but with so many vets pulling strings, they're being boxed in. Roles are defined before the season even starts. Energy is being micromanaged, and some players are quietly realizing this isn't the team-first dream it's being sold as. It's veteran-first, period. But that wasn't the whole story. Whispers from inside the locker room suggest not everyone's buying into this so-called culture shift. There's tension, subtle, but real. Players like Cunningham and Hull came in expecting opportunity. What they got was politics, favoritism, and a pecking order that rewards resume over readiness. And the most shocking part? It's working. For now, the team looks sharp. The chemistry appears strong. But underneath the smiles, cracks are forming. Because when leadership turns into control, trust starts to erode. And if this stacked roster starts dropping games, you better believe fingers will point, and they'll start with the players running the room. This isn't just a culture shift, it's a power shift. And if the young guns don't fall in line, they might find themselves phased out before they ever break through. Stay tuned. The veterans might have built this house, but they aren't the only ones living in it. Every team says they're building. The Fever? They're done building. They want a title now. With Clark, Mitchell, Bonner, Howard, and Boston, this lineup looks unbeatable on paper. Add a bench deeper than most starting fives, and the hype feels real. But behind all that, pressure, expectations, and silent tension no one wants to admit. Sophie Cunningham? Sideline. Vets are calling the shots. Rookies have to fall in line or disappear. One bad stretch, and this super team could collapse under its own weight. They're not rebuilding, they're on the clock. And when the pressure hits, who takes the fall? If you're watching the drama build in Indiana like we are, make sure you don't miss a second of it. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready, because this season's just getting started.